Hello everyone, I'm Paul, and today in my timber frame project we're going to be assembling and going to erect some of the post beams and braces.
Yep. So then that one's, nice in there, nice and tight. So you see how it just pulled it in right there? I don't know if you saw it or not. See how it continues to kind of pull it in? It gets tight like that.
Why does it do that?
Because when we offset the holes like that, like the tenon is offset from the beam, so when you drive that pin through, it's like trying to center itself to be in the same line, and so that pin pulls them together. It's called draw boring.
If you were wondering where we got the wooden pegs, basically what I did is I milled up 8-foot 1x1 strips, and then I cut them into 16-inch lengths. From there, basically we passed them through the wood dowel maker. The wood dowel maker will allow you to make anything from 1/4 inch up to 1 inch in diameter, and you can adjust it by 1/16 of an inch increments. Also, you can make up to 4 feet long wooden dowels, or a little bit larger if you're using the larger diameter, say example 3/4 of an inch or 1 inch. The dowel maker is basically a big pencil sharpener, and I've probably made over 150 of these dowels. Anyways, guys, once the dowel have been made, they need to be sharpened, and the reason for that is there's a hole in the tenon and there's a hole in the mortise, and they're offset. In order to catch the holes and then to get them to center together, it needs to be sharpened so that it catches it appropriately. Once the peg has been driven in, then it centers both holes together and it pulls the wood nice and tight together. Alright guys, you can see here basically this is going to be the very first post that goes up. We did assemble a piece on the top of it, a small piece of beam. And this is the most critical piece because it has to be set square, it has to be set plumb. And it's obviously, since it's the first piece, it's going to be a bit of a challenge because there's nothing to support it up in the air. So what we're doing here is we've got some bracing trying to set up, and we're trying to put it into place. You'll see down below, once we get a little bit more here, you'll see down below that we have a little bit of bracing as well for where we slotted the post into, and it helps to, there we go right there, you can see a little bit on the bottom. Right now I'm pushing it up with the tractor. I have a tree picker attachment that lifted the post into place up to this point here, and my son and I are basically going to try and get this as plumb as we can and as square as we can as well. We ended up putting some of the parts together on the ground, and some of it we actually did it up in the air. depending on what the part was. Some of them are way too big to lift all in one shot. You'll see later on in next week's video that we do lift a big section up. It is far more difficult to raise a big section than it is the little one, but then again, it's harder to put it together up in the air.
Hey, how you doing? I'm going to do the saw.
Oh, I'm gonna do the sawing.
You see here, my son is basically setting up a knee brace for the next beam that we're going to put up on the top here. He's going to drop his pin here in a second. That's what he's laughing about and pointing to down on the ground. Anyway, so he's inserting the pin, and that's going to hold the knee brace into place. Now that he's got the knee brace in place where he wants it, I'm raising the beam up with the tree picker attachment on the front of my tractor. Now, one thing to note, guys, is that it's not so much the weight of the beam, but it's rather the angle that it has to go down in, and also that it's very snug. It's a very snug fit to get this thing in here. So this is going to take a few minutes. There's a lot of maneuvering and playing around. The one thing about using a tractor versus some other piece of machinery that's actually meant to do this kind of stuff, like a crane or maybe even a excavator would be better, and that is the hydraulic controls. It's very, very hard, especially with the tractor that I'm using. It's a Kubota LX 2610. Two things. One, the hydraulics with the stick, the lever to manipulate the movement of the front end. Basically, it's very hard. I can move it a little bit and then nothing happens, and then I move a little bit more, nothing happens, and all of a sudden it kind of just jerks and it goes really quick. So it's very, very difficult that way. The other thing with the tractor as well is that when he waves me forward or gets me to go back a bit, again, it's the same thing with the hydraulics on these tractors, is that you're kind of just creeping a little bit slowly, and then all of a sudden it just gives a burst of juice or something, and then the tractor just jerks forward, an inch or two more than it's supposed to. So it's kind of a scary little thing when that happens. So trying to make the tractor crawl as slow as possible. Again, it's not the best piece of equipment to be using, but this is what we have, so this is what we've been using to do the job here. Now, as I mentioned, it's going to take a few minutes to get this lined up. Again, it's because the one end of it's starting to go down, so it's starting to angle on us here. And something we don't realize at the beginning here as well is that because it's such a snug fit, and we have the braces on, we have east-west and north-south braces already on the post, and what's happening is it's not allowing us to get it to fit in. So later on we're going to end up actually loosening up the brace here on the first post that we put up in order to get that beam up in there. Now there's several methods of trying to get that thing down in there, and you can see here is trying to get the hammer to move it around a little bit. Unfortunately, there's only two of us working on this. Keeping on the tractor because the tractor hydraulics, obviously, you know, when you have something up in the air and you're holding it, it can bring it back down a little bit. So I stay on the tractor to make sure that it doesn't drop too much. I will get off the tractor a couple of times, but then I don't have any weight on it, or there's not too much weight on my on the boom. You can use a pry bar up in there and to get the to shift the wood up there. You just got to be careful not to pinch your fingers or anything like that. You can see here I'm going to try and push the post a little bit, but as you can see it's not really moving much because it's all braced, but we're hoping you can just wiggle it enough and the beam will slip down inside. Some scaffolding may have been better than just using a ladder to work off of, but there was no room to put anything back behind where the ladder is right now. That's pretty much maxed out with the width of it. You can see there my son's up there now. He's got a small pry bar and he's asked me to kind of just wiggle the post a bit to see if you can get the beam to move so it can drop inside. It's a very finicky job. It's everything was measured pretty precise, and it's a very snug fit. And anything's on an angle. There we go. We can see a little tap on the knee brace brought the one end down. The other end's still up. We need to loosen the brace on the post to get it to move back a little bit because of the angle that the beam is on right now. We've got our tools all over the place, and I guess you guys know what that's like. You use something, you put it down, and you forget where you put it. So we did that quite a bit while you're doing the job. It's you could wear a belt, a tool belt, I guess, and carry some of the tools. But when it's super hot out, like it was here when we're working, the humidity was just killing us, and the sun was beaming down quite a bit on us. It was a super, super hot day. We did drink plenty of fluid, I can tell you that. I guess it would also have been nicer if we had put the second ladder up so we wouldn't have to go back and forth, but these are hindsight things. We did have a second ladder very similar to the other one that you see here, but the ladder was a bit short in comparison to this one, so I think probably that's why we did have two ladders going. this thing into place. Just a few more adjustments and a little bit playing around with it yet. He's just asked me to lower the boom a little bit there. Oh no, he actually asked me to raise it. He's just trying to manipulate it into place now. Once it's going into place, it starts to lock itself in, which is not too bad. You can see here now it's starting to come in. There we go, it's starting to lock in. Now you'll notice that it's not going to be completely locked in. What he's going to do is he's going to go back to the other side there and adjust that one first.
I have to get the ratchet strap, put it on that one,
Okay.
put it at the end, and bring it in.
Alright guys, that basically brings us to the end of another video. What we just have to do there is just to put a ratchet strap at the far end, and we just pull it in so that last little bit of a crack that you see there will actually close itself up. So if you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed to my channel and would like to see more of these videos, please hit the subscription button down below. It will really help me out with my channel, and it's all for free. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Gelling Outdoors.